Hello everyone and welcome to the very first episode of Voynich Talk, a new video series I've been planning for a while now. I'm your host, Koen Gheuens. You might already know me as the moderator of the Voynich.ninja forum, and I also research and write about the Voynich Manuscript. Each episode of this series will feature different invited guests. These talks will not be formal interviews, but rather conversations that focus on a selected topic. Episodes will be released periodically, depending on the available topics and the amount of time I have to dedicate to this project. But I plan for the series to continue as long as there is an interest. Normally the focus will be on the guest's research or expertise, but since this is the first episode, I wanted to do something special. There's some new research I've been working on together with Cary Rapaport, which I think will lend itself very well to a discussion with guests. Cary will be co-hosting this episode with me.
Hi, I'm Cary Rapaport. I'm particularly interested in Voynich imagery, and this is the focus of our collaborative research. I am also an artist, and I make porcelain and glass sculptures inspired by the manuscript's imagery. Alongside creating artworks, I began researching the manuscript's imagery several years ago in collaboration with Koen. I'd like to introduce the new research we'll be discussing today, which concerns the Herbal section. It's already well understood that the Herbal section consists of two main parts known as Herbal A and Herbal B. This is entirely based on statistical properties of the text and differences in the handwriting, which were originally pointed out by Prescott Currier. The different scribal hands were more recently refined by Lisa Fagin Davis. Normally, the A versus B split is seen as an entirely textual phenomenon, and evidence of a corresponding division between properties of the images has been very limited and received little attention.
As far as we are aware, all previous observations are limited to a 2016 thread on the Voynich.ninja forum. First, forum member Lars Dietz, writing under the name Oocephalus, noticed a difference in the way plant stems connect to their roots. Only in A folios, the artist sometimes separates stem and root with a little line. Before the current research, this stem-root line was the only difference we knew of in the pen drawings of both subsections. The other difference concerns paint colors. Forum member Sam G noticed that red paint is used almost exclusively in Herbal A. However, since the originality of the paint in the manuscript is still debated, we have decided to ignore color entirely for our research. Hence, these little stem root lines were all we had.
Still, this was very interesting to us, and we wondered if there may be more properties distinguishing Herbal A and Herbal B imagery. As it turns out, there are actually so many properties that we can sort over 90% of all herbal folios based on the plant drawing alone. That is, we can look at a plant drawing and be able to say whether it belongs to Herbal A or Herbal B.
Since this is a video made for YouTube, we decided to kind of limit the properties we discuss here. So the properties in this video will be limited to be able to identify about 80% of plants correctly. So to sort about 80% of plants in the manuscript in the Herbal section into the correct category A or B. We will be writing a blog post to go along with this video, which will have many more properties, which will go much more in depth. So be aware that this video concerns a limited set of properties. The full set can sort all but a few plants. Before we start, we should also say what this is not about. We are not presenting a theory. We did our very best to limit this only to observations. So we'll tell you this only Herbal A drawings do this, Herbal B drawings don't, but we try not to interpret it too much. While doing this research, Cary and I came up with different words to describe what we saw. For example, a certain typical flower we would call a daisy. But that does not mean that we want to botanically identify it as a daisy. It's just a term that we use, same like grass or some other terms you might come across during this talk. They're just terms we use to be able to refer to what we see. It's not meant as an identification. And as we said before, everyone has a different opinion about the reliability of the color in the manuscript, so we just ignore the color and look at pen drawings only.
Now, I'll start by introducing the first A property, which, as we mentioned before, was identified in 2016 by Lars Dietz on the Voynich.ninja forum. These are a few examples of what we mean when we talk about a stem root line. You can see that it can be a few different types, but each of them has a little line that separates the stem from the root. Now, a new property that we just recently found is to do with the flowers and the way that they are drawn in Herbal A.
At least some flowers. It's a type of flower that you can find in A, but you won't find in B.
Right. So this type of flower is drawn from the side, and we do not see the center of the flower.
Something very important here also is that A will always, when it draws a flower like this, you will always see different layers of petals. So it's not just one row of petals, but you will see one or more rows behind it.
Another property in A folios is that the leaves have veins. They don't always have them, but it's something that only A plants have. We want to be clear that we're not talking about dotted lines. We investigated the dotted line and found that it does not seem to correspond to either A or B, but veined leaves, as drawn with a continuous line, is a very distinct A property. Another property of the leaves, which is very distinctive, is that the stalk of the leaf connects to the leaf center. And here you can see a few different examples.
So again, that's something that not all A plants do, but when you see it, you know you're dealing with an A plant.
Now here we see two clearly different leaf shapes occur on the same plant. And sometimes you have to look closely, sometimes it's obvious, and this is something we only find in A. When we look at A folios, a few of their properties have to do with the whole structure of the plant on the folio. So we look at the whole folio here. The first one is something we call the pinwheel. It's like a windmill kind of seen from the side. We're looking into the center and the leaves are radiating outwards. Another thing we find in A is that everything, by which we mean leaves, flowers, fruits, anything on the plant, is all at the top of the stem. And finally, we have several leaf clusters. Now, another thing we see when we look at the flowers in A folios is we frequently find a shape of the calyx, which is the part of the flower beneath the petals where they attach to the stem. In A, they seem to really favor this kind of shape, which has a bulbous center and 3 petals or tepals coming from the top, whereas in B folios, they favor a wider calyx shape with many more tepals. One of the most interesting properties of B folios is what we like to call a daisy. It has multiple dots in the center surrounded by petals and sometimes seems to be inserted in or on other fully formed flowers. Another property we see in B folios and not A folios is what we call grass. This refers to lines around the base of the stem.
One of the more distinctive properties of some bee folios is what we call the root platform. This is different from the normal flat top root. With a flat top root, which is limited mostly to A, you see that the root itself has a flattened top. But with these root platforms, which are typical for B, it almost looks like the terrain is separate from the roots and the stems that grow over it. So they took a piece of ground, of terrain. Sometimes it's even painted, and the roots grow underneath it, and the stems or stalks grow on it separately. And they tend to be wider also than just the flat top roots of A. One final property of bee folios is that sometimes they will have all of their leaves on one side of the stem. So whenever you see a plant doing that, you know you're looking at a bee folio. Now we started thinking about ways to test our findings before publishing anything about them. I thought it would be fun to try and teach other people to recognize the differences between A plants and B plants. So all that was missing was a number of willing test subjects. To find these, I sent out some messages and quickly got 4 people to respond. First, we have David Jackson, administrator of the Voynich.ninja forum. Since I am a moderator there, he was morally obliged to participate in my project. Next, I really wanted to get Lars Dietz on board, since he was the first person to notice any difference at all between A and B plants. Then we have Michelle Lewis, who was one of the first people to respond to my message. And finally, Lisa Fagin Davis, whose work on the manuscript scribes overlaps in an interesting way with our findings about the images. So is this Curier A or Curier B that we're looking at?
I'm going to say that's A.
Yes.
It's a clear pinwheel with
A clear pinwheel, yes.
So do you want us to just write it down and we'll grade us later, or are we just jumping in?
You just say what. Otherwise, it's going to be a boring video if you're just.
All right. Well, that's A.
You led with a softball, Koen.
Well, of course, it's also on the cheat sheets. I like seeing them decontextualized like this. You see the plants differently when they're not surrounded by text.
We've got the veined leaves.
I'm going to go with. Go ahead, Michelle. You want to handle this one because I have a thought.
I think it's A.
I think so too. Because of the stem
I know what plant this is, so because it's one that people focus a lot on. But
well, it looks so. It's one of the only ones that looks like a real actual plant.
Yeah, right. And it's got the 2-leaf thing, which is
yeah, 2 different kinds of leaves.
Yes, from the flowers, that seems to be B.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, that's B.
Yeah.
Because the leaves are all on one side.
Yes, and also
the daisy.
The daisies.
This is so fun. I love this.
and a bit of crazy calyx already. So this one is not too crazy.
Yeah, the tendency to put leaves on one side is so strong here that there is a leaf growing to the other side, but they had to make it curve around, and for some reason they all are on that side.
Is that an A?
Yes.
Yep.
Because
centralized connection of plants.
Yes. So
the veined leaves.
So
veined leaves too.
And connects in the middle.
Okay.
Can you scroll down? You want to see the bottom? Okay.
Bottom is nothing to see there.
I'm leaning in to zoom in. Can you zoom in more on those leaves? I think I'm going to go with A because of
Yeah,
the
I would go with
veins on
A
the
as
leaf.
well.
Veins
Yeah, it
and,
does have
veins.
veins.
and
leaves,
I don't know
very
how you.
dry.
And the, yeah.
Yeah.
And the
It's a
stem
bit
is-
covered by paint, but
you
the
can
stem
see
is
it.
going into the leaf center too.
Yeah.
We have a root platform.
I think,
A stem root line, yeah.
I think it has a stem root line, yes.
Yes.
So,
And also veined leaves again.
It's a bit hard to see that the stem is connecting to the center of the leaves, but it happens in a few
It happens a
places.
few times. Also, this is the typical A calyx. So you get this kind of fat belly and then with 3 fingers. You won't find these in B. And for example, here you can see that the stalk of the leaf, it continues past the line work of the leaf. So it connects in the middle of the leaf, and that's something A does. That's an A.
Oh, so is this one because it has the root thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our first
Whenever
stem
we
root
see
line.
that, that's an easy tell.
Yeah, so that's also an A, and we also get veins in the leaves. And that's it for this one.
A calyx.
Oh, and a
shape
typical
also
calyx
here.
also.
Oh yes, we do
For an
get the thing
Mhm.
here. That's a very typical A calyx.
You see, that also is something that feels like an artistic signature to me.
Mhm.
The
Yes,
calyx being so
definitely.
different from one to the other is one of
The-
those things
yeah,
that I'm
these
drawing a
calyxes
plant,
are
here's
so-
how I do it. As opposed to, say, this one.
No, that- This looks like a B to me.
Yeah, because it has that root platform.
The daisy thing.
root
and
platform and the daisy thing, and the crazy calyxes. Yeah.
Yeah, the calyxes look like they're going to eat you alive.
Yeah. It's and also it really looks like they took a daisy and kind of put it on there, and it's not really.
Thank you for teaching
Yeah.
me the word calyx because I didn't know that until this morning.
yes, that should be B.
Yes.
The
Yes.
root platform. And
Yes.
no flowers.
Oh, I think this is B because of the dots in the middle of the flower.
Yes. So here's an interesting example where
Yeah, that's an exception, it seems.
they have a flower, but B still wants his daisy, so he puts it on top of the other flower.
Okay.
And
So,
it does feel so. I see where you're coming from, Michelle, because it does kind of feel like an A flower, but it's seen like on top. And A flowers tend to be seen from the side.
the side.
Oh, that's more of a daisy-like flower now you zoomed in.
Yeah. So
It's just stuck into the center of another flower.
Just
but-
plonked in.
B really wants their daisies. So here they drew another flower, but they still wanted the daisy, so they put it on top of another flower.
And you've got sort of overlapping leaves there.
Yes, but this one isn't seen from the side.
No.
And we see the center, which is a daisy.
Yes, it's
All right.
the daisy.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna say B.
Yes.
Yeah, I think B
Yep.
too,
Why?
mainly because the leaves are so consistent.
The calyx.
The calyx,
And
and
the-
also
The weird calyx.
It's hard to see, but they drew a flower and then they put daisies here. These are tiny daisies.
Mhm.
So it's a flower within flower, because here's a calyx, here's
Yeah.
petals, here's a calyx, and here's a daisy.
Yeah.
So yeah, they want.
You know why? Because this is how plants grow on other planets.
Yeah, daisies are parasites, apparently. Parasitic daisies. That's
Maybe there was a problem with the plants in early 15th century, a daisy plague
the
that
daisy infestation. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the grass around the base of the stem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We were not sure if this should count as a root platform. It's not really a flat top root. It looks like a kind of piece of terrain that they took.
Yeah, I think it will be a root platform,
Yeah.
but it's not quite the same as the other ones.
Yeah.
But if you define a root platform as like a piece of land that has multiple stems growing out of it, out of the top, and multiple roots growing out of the bottom, it seems to be similar to that.
Yeah. And so it's not super clear here, but if you look at the stalks.
Plants that way, leaves that way,
Yeah.
and everyone has leaves both sides.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Well, I guess this one's a B
Yeah.
because we've
Yeah,
got
I
the
think so.
grass
Great.
and the root platform.
Grass.
Root platform. I concur.
Yes, and also on these two outer stalks, the leaves grow to one side.
These only go in one direction. Yeah.
Zoom in a bit on that. Is that grass on that?
Well, this one, first of all, I think is probably incomplete, but can you zoom in on the leaves a little more?
The leaves are weird because what is the leaf? Like, is this one leaf? Like, so I think it's a stalk with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves on it. And it kind of stops. And also, like, there's not really line work drawing the leaves. It's just squiggles. What tells us that
I
it's
think
B.
I would say, is it A?
No, it's B.
Okay.
There's grass.
Oh, the grass there.
Yeah.
How common are A's with like a thick root but no line? Is that really a very characteristic thing for A?
You mean if the A's have like a kind of a flat top root and no root line?
Yes. Does
That's
that ever
very
happen?
rare. I think
Or is it-
only one example.
Okay.
So when A has a flat top root, there's always root lines, apart from maybe one exception.
We have a 3-point calyx
Yes.
from an ATAC calyx.
And the veined leaves, I
Veined
think
leaves,
it's
very,
very,
very good.
slightly,
Yes.
but it's there.
And so this is also like an A flower, because you have like this side view and you see 2 layers of petals.
Well, I recognize that. It's been sculpted.
That's our A, right?
Yes.
Yeah, layered petals
Or
and
a
leaf on the
calyx.
side.
And it's got hardly visible veins.
Well, that could be anything. Zoom in a bit. It's
That has from the calyx, I would say
Yes.
A.
Yes. So you have the A calyx, and also structure-wise, you have 2 leaf clusters. That's always A. So a cluster here, a piece of stem cluster. I think that's it for this one.
And there's a little bit of not petals seen from the side, but sort of the calyx is layered and seen from the side, so it kind of leans in that direction.
Have they, they just looked, it's like you've never seen them before when you see them without the text. It's really interesting.
I feel like
it's
I've
a really
seen
good
them.
idea to look at them that way without the distraction of the text everywhere.
I think next time I sculpt a plant,
Cool.
I'm going to use these images with no text.
Yeah, it's really cool. Can you zoom in, please?
Yes.
The shape is more A, the calyx.
Yeah, that's
shape
an
is
A calyx.
Typical A calyx. Also, there's an A structural thing going on.
Oh, right. The group of leaves and then another group of leaves thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, so if you go from the criterion, everything's at top of the stem,
Yes.
it should be A.
Yeah.
This one's just weird.
Well, aren't they all? It's also a structural thing here. So you have this a tall empty stem.
Oh, all the things at the top.
Yes, everything.
Oh, so it's an A.
That's
A.
yes, it's a common A thing. And also kind of a flower seen from the side with 2 layers of petals. Also very A. I'll zoom in a bit for you.
Yes. It should be A, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very quick with the stem root lines. There's also, this one's a really nice example of another A property.
The stalk,
stalk.
Connecting to the leaf center.
They draw it all the way and even past the center in this case.
So is this B? Does that count as a root platform?
No. So this, I wouldn't count it as a root platform because it's the root itself. So we tend to call these flat top roots. So it's like one root structure, almost like a stem that's been cut.
Oh, that's been, I see. That's like a cross section.
Yeah.
Yeah. The root platform is more like a piece of earth that has multiple roots underneath it and a bunch of stems kind of horizontal in a row.
Well, maybe I'll go with A for this one then.
Yeah, I would,
maybe because
I would tend to go with A too because we've got the nice lines.
And where the stems and where this and that the stems are going into the center of the leaf.
Exactly.
How are the leaves? Are they all the same? I'm just curious. Okay.
Yeah, they're all basically the same. Each one is
weird,
different, but they're all.
Oh, but the thing connects in the center. Oh, that's actually the example.
Yes, it's a good example because they made it red.
Oh, it certainly is. You're right.
It's quite a root table there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's this is one of those plants from the back of the manuscript. They also largely follow the same rules. So this is B.
Yeah.
Oh, we know what that is. That's got to be B. That's your root platform.
Yeah, that's a root platform for you.
That would be back to the, is that a daisy? Can't quite see.
It sort of is kind of like a daisy without the.
It's a mad calyx anyway.
Scalloped petals.
So like you kind of feel like they would like to draw a daisy here because they've got already their calyx at the ready, but they didn't draw the daisy. But yes, it's B.
It's a little different because it has circles inside it rather than just dots, but it feels a lot like the same kind of daisy.
But yeah, it's a typical B calyx.
Oh, the flowers are definitely more bee-like.
Yes. So this is
and I guess the leaves arguably are bee-like from the point of view of the way you described the possibility of it being all in one and then
But you don't know this yet, officially.
Going out into fingers like that. Very B.
Yes, it's B. So yeah, B leaves, which is not on your chart, and B calyxes.
Well, certainly a veined leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one looks so lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally
That-
it's a buddy, a little red buddy, but it's not here.
So would this be A?
Yep.
Yeah, because of the veins, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even this corresponds to the A structure of having everything on top of the
Right.
at the top.
Right. everything on top.
Yeah.
Yes, that has the spin wheel.
Yes, pinwheel.
It looks pretty A.
Pinwheely.
Pinwheel.
Pinwheely.
Yep. And veins.
The veins.
Yes, that has stem root lines.
The root
Yeah.
lines.
Okay.
So is that our stem root line?
Yep.
So that's
Yeah.
A.
And also
Yeah.
Center connection.
very clear center connection and some veins. Now this is a fun one.
And that's a root table.
Yep. That's
You've
one.
got flat. You've got leaves on one side.
Yep.
Something that looks like a daisy on top, and a mud
Yep.
calyx
and
grass.
grass.
It has
That's
all of the B
all of them.
properties. Yeah.
That's a B. God, it's
Yeah,
like
very
everything.
much B.
It's so B. It's
Yeah,
like
It's so B.
so very B.
It has all of the B.
Yes.
That's like
Properties all in
the
one place.
definition of B.
So it has literally everything that's on your chart.
Yeah.
Uh,
Interesting.
daisies, calyxes, even the leaves that we talked
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Grass,
goofy grass.
root platform, leaves to one side, everything.
So side on view of the flowers, which
Yes.
got connections to the center, defined root line,
Yes.
and typical calyx.
Yep.
Yeah. That one actually has a doubled stem root line, but that still counts.
I like this one because it's one of the ones that's offset on the facing page. There's a big
Oh,
blue
right.
smudge on the facing page. So I like that a lot. So that's got our stem root line. So that's
Yeah, I
got
think this is an A.
Veined leaves,
Yes.
no calyx there, it just goes straight in.
Yeah. But you see, they kind of want to do it, but we do have layered petals, and I guess this thing counts as leaves, so 2 different leaf types. And for good measure, there is under this paint an actual link line. That's a stem root line.
Can we zoom, please? Veined leaves, so A.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going with A again.
Yep.
Mainly because of the structure of it being all up at the top of the stem.
It's also an A structure, and also 2 different leaf types.
I should say the previous one.
Daisy at top? Yes.
Yeah,
They just stuck a daisy in there.
deep in the calyx. They stuck another daisy, so that's clear B. And I guess this kind of counts as grass, although it's an edge case because it's over the whole root.
I think I'm gonna go out on a limb without even looking too hard, and I'm gonna say A. Or B, sorry, B. It's B.
Why?
It's B because a daisy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a lopsided plant, if ever I saw one.
Yes, which is also the answer to our question.
The B,
Yeah.
the leaves over on the one side.
Yeah.
Although what's happening on the right side,
You kind of
can't
have to assume that these are flowers or fruits, but the leaves are all here, so that's a B.
if they're drawing real plants, they're terrible artists.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's B.
yeah,
Yes.
that's a B with the platform.
Yes, exactly.
So we got the mad calyxes
Yep.
Yeah.
with a few daisies.
That looks like the logo of the Holy Roman Empire. Nice double eagle at the bottom. All right, that's
I'm going with B again.
B. Those
a
are our
safe
B's.
choice, yes.
I agree.
Very defined root stem.
And
Several other things.
several others.
Differently shaped leaves.
Yes.
Yep, and there's a root platform, the root line.
Root line, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a
I
typical,
agree. I think it's closer to an A type.
yes, and a typical A flower also.
Another A, yeah.
Yes.
Although it's getting close to platform down there.
Yes, but
yeah,
there
I
is
still
like
think it's A.
there is a bulbous chunk of root where all
Yeah.
so that's the difference.
That has stem root lines.
Yes.
Mhm.
And also
Central connection.
central connection and even some veins.
That has a daisy in the middle.
That count as a daisy?
A B if
Oh,
they
yeah.
stuck to
Oh, it does. There's a daisy
Yeah.
right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's adorable. See, I
Yeah.
never even noticed that before.
B wants his daisies, even when there's already something else he wants daisies.
Right. Why add a daisy there? You don't need one.
And also you'll see again the thing we're talking about with the leaves. It does this again.
Yeah, those are B leaves.
So unfinished.
B.
Is that an A No, that's a B daisy.
Oh, we've got the mad calyxes.
Yes.
Daisy at the top.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a daisy
There's
up
a
there.
daisy stuck
Yeah.
in here.
I don't know what's going on with those cupcakes.
Even though these are like thistle-like flowers, they still put a daisy in there. It's really insane. And grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grass. And there's a tendency to have, they're not really leaves. I don't know what they are necessarily, but they're on one side of the stem.
Yeah. There might
I
be.
don't know what they are, but I really want a cupcake now.